when your legs don't work like they used to before. And I can't sweep you off of your feet. Will your mouth still remember the taste of my love? Will your eyes still smile from your cheeks? Darling, I will be loving you till we're 70.
Did you mess up?
Yeah. DJ Kev on the ones and twos. Totally hit the wrong button. I was trying to be smooth with the fade in, fade out like last
Did
week.
You hit pause in
I hit fast forward instead. I was like, Ed, what are you doing? Why are you totally ruining the mood?
That's funny.
Ed Sheeran, sorry about that, man. I'm not DJ Kev on the ones and twos today. Today I'm just regular person. Sorry about that, guys. I'll be better next week. It's your boy KevOnStage with the lovely and luxurious Miss KevOnStage. And it's Love Hour. The Love Hour Lovecast with your hosts of the mosts on the posts.
I want you to stop.
Doing roasts comedically. Anyway, want to welcome you to the podcast. We weren't here last week because
the Seahawks lost. I'm not laughing because it was a heartbreaking loss.
Rip my heart out. We are going to keep up with our podcasts. One a week. You will have 52 podcasts by the end of this year. You already have 4. We did 2 in 1 week. So, we're still good. So
wait, you can't say we're going to have 52 and we didn't start January 1.
We started the first week of January.
Did we?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought,
Yeah.
Well, I guess we're only in February. Okay.
Yeah. We're on track, baby.
I didn't realize.
We're on track, baby.
It seems like we're further in the year than we are.
This is the 5th week, I believe. End of the 5th week.
Don't verify.
For February 7th that we're recording this.
Okay.
End of the 5th week. So, yes, we are here. Before we get into the real topic, I just want to tell you guys, Valentine's Day is a sham.
It is not.
It is a sham, and here's why. I don't mind the part about showing someone you love extra special attention on at least one day of the year. Don't mind that at all. What I do mind is corporate capitalistic America making it all about the man showing the woman love. They don't put any guilt on the woman, okay? Women do things for their husband and boyfriends and stuff. So I'm not really mad at the women. But it's not expected of them. There's no pressure. Do you feel pressure Valentine's Day?
Yeah, because
to deliver?
At night we have to deliver.
Yeah. Okay. You got to give up the draws. Big whoop. You do that all the time. There's no pressure to deliver a fantastic night before that. You got to give 2 minutes of your life away. On February 14th. I have been thinking about Valentine's Day and making plans for weeks already.
You have?
Yes.
What are we doing?
Don't worry about that. But have you thought about anything?
Nope.
No. Nothing. I got stress and tension in my shoulders.
Yeah, but you do it on yourself because really I'm simple,
I don't.
Kev.
No,
I
do
not make this so that you feel that pressure. I don't expect you
Society. The man. If you go to work on Monday and I didn't do a doggone thing for you,
I would be like, no, Valentine's Day isn't that big. I would cover for you because I really don't.
But your coworkers would be judging me from afar. I would feel side eyes from across the freeway knowing I didn't do anything for you. I can't have my name sullied out there in the coworker. They're going to be sipping their water at the break room, looking at you like, her husband's not really, he doesn't really show her any special attention on Valentine's Day. She's a great worker. She's really smart. But I don't know if her husband loves her. That's what people are going to say. I'm not blaming you, Liz. It's not your fault. This preceded your time on Earth and will be continuing after we leave. Although I do think the rapture is going to come in our lifetime. So get right, saints, and let's go home.
That was deep.
I'm just letting you know.
You prophesying? No
I don't
man
think
will know the hour. The day.
I'm just saying. I think it's in our lifetime. I hope not. Because I want to die.
What makes you think that though?
I just think I'm important enough for God to be like, this guy Kev. I don't know if I want Earth to continue going without him. No, but seriously, I do think after we return to the dirt, Valentine's Day will be like continuing to make men feel guilty. 50 Shades of Grey is going to make $1 billion.
I know.
You know why? They've got single women going with their single women friends.
Yes, they do.
And they've got couples making their dragging their man to the movies.
Women driving their men, yeah.
You know what I want to see on Valentine's Day? The Kingsmen. If we go to the movies, you know what we will be seeing? 50 Shades of Grey.
You can't say that. People don't like it all the time. You have to edit that out.
No, I don't.
What is The Kingsman?
See what I'm talking about? You don't even know about The Kingsman. The Kingsman is a movie where Sam Jackson plays a bad guy, and it's about Secret Service. I don't know. It's action and violence and guns.
I didn't know Sam Jackson was in the movie again.
We saw it on the billboard. He had the hat like Russell and the prayer beads.
The only person I've seen on the billboard lately is Will Smith for Focus.
And you've seen 50 Shades of Grey stuff.
Yes.
Whether we see 50 Shades of Grey or not, a lot of people, a lot of men who don't want to see it will be seeing it.
Absolutely.
That's what I'm talking about. This is Valentine's Day. Putting the pressure on men.
Amen to society putting the pressure on me.
No. Because you don't feel guilty.
Why?
And it doesn't count if you say, well, that's not important to me. Because
You're digressing a
no,
lot.
I'm not. I'm going back to this.
You're venting.
I am. I never liked Valentine's Day. I love you. I don't mind doing the things for you on Valentine's Day or other days. I don't want people to pressure me. I don't want Mexicans on the side of the street making me realize that I did. They are going hard.
And then balloons.
Where do they come from?
I don't know, but they're clutch.
I feel like the moment Christmas was over, the pressure was already on.
For
Like
Valentine's Day, I agree with that.
Immediately in the grocery stores,
I agree with that.
everywhere I look, it's like, oh.
It's commercialized, man.
It's commercialized. I feel like you should be able to love on your own terms. But maybe some men wouldn't do it otherwise.
Yep.
Maybe some, I don't know. You've got I don't even want to think about it. Reservations, everything's more expensive. I bought you roses at other times in the year, regular price, right? Valentine's Day,
Double.
they know they're going to get their money.
Yes, they do.
Because there's idiots out there who forget. I don't know how.
Me either.
But they forget.
Get your lives together, men. Wait, will this come out before Valentine's?
Yes.
Okay, men, go buy your wife presents, gifts, cookies, chocolates, and cakes.
And it's so hard. We're really going to get to the topic. It's so hard when we've been doing this is our 15th.
Is it?
14th Valentine's Day. We started dating in 2001, May. It's going to be...
No, Kev. Not 2001. We graduated high school in June 2001.
Yeah. So we didn't do the Valentine's Day 2001. But 2002...
Wait, time out. We started dating a month before we got out of high school?
We started dating 2000.
Yeah.
That's why I got 14 years.
Yeah, your math is all
so
wrong.
2001 through this will be the 14th year.
Yeah, that makes more sense.
I'm sorry. 14th Valentine's Day.
Wow.
It's the older you get, the harder it is to be like new. It's not hard to celebrate, but to do something like, wow, we've never done this before. 14 years?
That's a long time. That's a lot of Valentine days.
That's a lot of Valentine. That's more than people have been alive. Our kids combined are 14 years old.
Wow. I didn't realize it was
And you ain't how many times have you felt pressure?
Not a one.
0 times. This, my friends, is why Kev is not so hot about the capitalistic commercial devil that is Valentine's Day. All right. Let's get into the topic of today. Comes from one of our loyal listeners. We thank you for listening on YouTube, iTunes,
You sound like you're about to name
SoundCloud.
radios. KJLH.
KJLH. This is the morning drive with your host, Kev, and the lovely Mrs. Kev. Couple skate night. Grab your lovely lady friend. Anyway, so here's the question list. How can couples maintain romance while balancing work and children? It definitely gets tough to make time for each other. Before you answer, if you want to submit questions to us, this is where we base most of our show. Write us, Dear Kevin List, at KevOnStage@gmail.com. Dear Kevin List. And we have a folder for Love Hour. And we've got plenty to go. But just keep sending your questions. Nothing's too intimate or not. And if you don't want your name said over the air, we really generally don't tell people's names.
No, I like to shout people out. So if you don't mind, then you can say it.
Yeah, so let us know
Otherwise,
either
we'll
way.
assume, yeah.
Yeah,
We'll
if you don't
assume no.
say, we don't say it. But we're not doing shout outs. Don't write a question just to be like, shout out my sister Craig. Well, I don't know why you would have a sister named Craig.
My sister Craig.
Yes. So that's where you send us questions, or you can tweet us, but Melissa doesn't use Twitter. So again, before you answer, here's the question for you who missed it. How can couples maintain romance while balancing work and children? It definitely gets tough to make time for each other. Let's take it away.
Okay. So I have 3 points, right?
Yes.
That I'm going to talk about for maintaining romance and balancing work when you have kids. Because to this person's point, it definitely does get more and more difficult when you start adding more things into the equation, such as kids, and you start working full time, and life happens. So you get busy. So the first thing, one of the podcasts that I've been listening to here lately is Confessions of a Terrible Husband, which you should check it out. It's really short. He only does like 15, 20-minute episodes, but they're actually pretty good. And one of the guests he had on was talking about investing in your right now, because that's what you'll have to pull out later. And the point of that was that as couples, a lot of times we invest more in our kids than we do into each other. And upon the age of 18-ish, your kids will leave the house.
Black people are getting you out of the house at 18.
Yeah. So you invested all this time, effort, and energy into your kids, which I'm not saying is a bad thing. I'm not saying throw your kids out in the cold when they're 5. But, I mean, hopefully you understand the point that I'm making. You invest all this time and effort into your children, and then they leave.
Yes.
And then you're stuck with this spouse that you haven't invested that time in, and it's just the two of you, and you're looking at each other like, well, who are you? Because I don't know you. Right. I didn't bother to spend time with you over the course of 18 years. I didn't bother to get to know you and converse with you or conversate with you, and so therefore I have no idea who you are. And we see that a lot if you look at older couples. As soon as the kids leave, they've been married 25, 35, 45 years. The kids leave, and all of a sudden they're divorcing. You're like, well, wait, now I'm confused. You've been together how this long? How have you been together all this long? And then all of a sudden you're getting divorced? It's because your kids were a distraction, and you were distracted with your kids that you didn't realize you didn't know this other person. They leave, you no longer have a distraction, and you're forced to look at this other person in the face, and you realize, I really don't know you. And beyond the fact that I don't know you, I don't like you. So I would like to get a divorce.
You know what? Also interesting you said that about the kids, because they are a distraction. A lot of times people's kids precedes their marriage.
Yes.
There's very little time in a lot of relationships where there was no kids. We had the luxury of dating for 4 years without kids. Mm-hmm. And then before we had kids, it were about 2 years of marriage. Mm-hmm. So we had 6 years of time, but a lot of our friends, kids often precedes their marriage. Yeah. So that makes it even more difficult, because the entire relationship, or a good portion of the relationship, is built on the kids you have. A lot of unplanned pregnancies amongst our friends. It's very common. Yeah. It's very common in America. So that's interesting, because I think it's safe to say there's not always a strong foundation built pre-kids. That's true. And the moment the kids are gone, what little foundation is there is gone.
Yeah. And it definitely exposes if the foundation was weak once the kids are gone.
Yes.
Which leads right into the next tip, which would be avoid falling into roles. Meaning, you're more than a mother, women. You're more than a father, men. Going back to women, you're more than a mother, women, because it's usually us. We have these kids, and we're so nurturing, and we just automatically, our kids are our life. They're our everything. We want to put them first. And kids are important. There's no doubt about it. But before there were kids, even if you had kids before you got married, before they were there, it was you and your husband. It was you and your wife. And you got together with that person for a reason. And you need to remember that reason and avoid just playing these roles. And a lot of times we get caught up in the roles, and that's what happens. You get caught up in being mommy, you get caught up in being daddy, that you forget that you're also a wife. You forget that you're also a husband, and you have to take off that mommy hat in order to fulfill your wifely duties. That would include fulfilling your wifely duties.
Sex.
So, especially for women, making sure you remember that. And I'll just add this tidbit that I didn't have on my list. I know a lot of the people that, may listen to our podcast are Christians, and so therefore they're church-going people. When you add church into the mix, that's a whole other factor.
Well, let's stay there for a moment.
Okay, we're gonna stay right there, preacher. And I just would like to submit to you. Your tongue sounded not of the Lord. Is that you have to remember the order in which God ordained, this life. And that is him first.
Stay right there, Bishop.
Your spouse second. Then your children. And then church. God and church are not one and the same.
Ooh.
You have God. You have your spouse. You have your children. And then you have church. And a lot of times as Black people, we forget that our church is not our God. And we think that by doing church things that we're fulfilling, and we very well are doing kingdom duties, but we have to remember that we have a ministry at home as well.
Yes.
Especially if your spouse is not saved. You have to remember to cater to him and meet his needs, and remember that he is important.
Or her, because sometimes women
Or
aren't
her.
saved. Just want to shout out to the brothers that are saved
And
with
the wives
these
are not.
devilish women.
We have to remember that, because you will get so caught up being a busy bee at church that you neglect the responsibilities that you have at home and fulfilling those duties. So then you become a mother first, then you become a worker second, and then you become a minister in your church, and your spouse is last on the totem pole if he gets anything at all, because by the end of the day you have little to no energy. Yes. And I say this all the time. My job, your job gets the best hours of your day. You wake up early. You're there when you're the most awake. And by the time you get home, you are drained. But the people that matter the most are the people at home. So don't let, you have to be conscious of that and aware of that, and make sure that you make your home life, especially your husband, especially your wife, a priority. Because what you invest in now is what you'll be able to pull out later.
Absolutely. Our former pastor and first lady did a good job of, even though they were the pastor and first lady, they still vacationed,
right?
Like a normal couple would. That didn't include their kids. I mean, by the time we knew them, their kids were grown anyway, but, they were like the first pastor and first lady I ever knew that took any time out of the church to focus at any time of their marriage. And I'm not talking about our vacation is going to be like a conference, for pastors. I mean, I'm talking about we're going to go on a cruise. We may miss a Sunday. Things will continue on. The church we were attending for a while in LA, this pastor took the entire month of August off.
He sure did.
To spend with his wife. I mean, every year he invited a guest preacher or pastor every Sunday in August. He planned for it. He prepped for it. The church numbers didn't dwindle when he wasn't there. The church knew that's at the time he would take a vacation with his wife. He would plan for the next year's sermon series, all that stuff. He would spend time with God, but he would also just regularly vacation. And he was an older gentleman, and I was just like, wow. Because growing up, my life, that pastor never, I'm talking about when I was a kid in church. Until we got to Washington, the pastor never missed a Sunday. Never missed a Sunday, missed a Bible study, never, ever, ever, ever. I mean, they made vacation in between Sundays and Wednesday, but I know my early pastor, we had church every other day, and he was there every other day. So you can get caught up helping the people, right, when you're in ministry, but the members of the church don't feel the same obligation, right? When they don't come to church, they go on vacation, they don't feel bad. But when you're a leader in church and you're in ministry, you feel super guilty about doing anything that makes you miss church. And if you work a full-time job, you can't take time off during the week.
Right.
You can only take, your vacation and or your weekend, and that includes church. And a lot of times you feel guilty. So there's people we know who are in the ministry a long time, and eventually, we could tell you guys some stories, but we are still friends with a lot of people. But they put the ministry above everything, and they would be like running to the drop of the dime to save everyone else, and their inner home was just in shambles.
Right. And I always say and we're gonna move out. I got one more point, but the other thing is that I always say is that the nerve of us as church people to invest and preach and speak life into the members of our church and go home and our home life is in shambles. Mm-hmm. The nerve of it, that's backwards. That's backwards. That's backwards. Get it right at home.
Yes.
Get it right at home.
Fantastic. I'm with you, Bishop.
Yes, that's my only point. I get real passionate about that because I really do feel like a lot of times for church people, we have that backwards, and we got to get it right. We got to do better. We have to invest in our home life and think of it as a ministry, because it is. The way your kids that are in your home, they're growing up, and what they see is what they will model.
Right.
And that is a legacy that you are providing for future generations.
And even if they don't model it, the foundation was set correctly, right? They know that even if they're not doing that, like, I know I'm wrong. My parents did X, Y, and Z correctly. I'm just living wrong. Like when I was out there acting up, I knew better. I just didn't do better. Right. But heaven forbid, my mom laid that foundation. I would have been completely comfortable acting up. At least I felt convicted.
So those are. Oh no, my last point was make it a priority.
Yes.
And I'm not going to beat that horse anymore.
Yeah. I like the term invest in now, what you get later. Because what that implies, good investors are playing a long-term game.
Absolutely.
Right? They're not throwing a lot of money at a project or an investment and expecting a return right away.
Rich quick.
No. Good investors are playing a 30, 40, year game. They're investing in property. They're investing in mutual funds. They have IRAs. They have CDs. And those things, those good investments aren't okay, I put the money in. And that's what we try to do in our relationships a lot of time. We mess up. And okay, my marriage is falling apart. Let me spend this weekend with her and it's going to be cool. You can't do that.
Right. It takes time.
Yeah. The same way it takes time. We're on this, me and Melissa are on this healthy, eat right and exercise thing. And I made this joke on Twitter, when we first started the first week, you bought all these vegetables and all this water. And I just ate so many carrots in 3 days. And I was just after eating 3 days of carrots, I'm I should be healthy now. But I had eaten wrong for years with lack of consistent exercise. But you throw 5 carrots in your mouth and you feel
abs.
I need abs now. Where are my abs? And the same amount of time it took to get out of shape and overweight, it's going to take the same or more to undo. Absolutely. Right. So even if you're in a part of your relationship where you don't have it, it's not a lot of things in relationships, this trust, after a bad breakup, after, infidelity, whatever you're trying to fix it, these things are not going to be done overnight. You invest in it, you nurture it, you monitor it. You're going to investing implies returning to put stuff in. If I put $1,000 in a CD and that's all I ever do, then that's all I'll ever make. Right. But if I continue, as my income grows, continue to make good investments, then over time I'll have, a better picture to look at. So I like that term, invest in now, what you get later. So if you're not investing now, that doesn't mean it's over.
Absolutely not. There's still time. But start today. That's so good, Liz. You are on fire today. So another thing that you can do if you have children is get rid of them doggone snot-nosed kids. Get them out of here. I'll tell a story about me and Liz. Melissa is, almost anti get these kids out of here. I am. Kevin's definitely better at that than I am.
Oh, my gosh. Get them out of here. I will drop my kids off at family and friends' house and have them spend the night with the quickness. Love my kids to death. Get them out of here. Even if we don't have, even we're not going out of town, just knowing that if we just want a quiet, and our kids are relatively quiet. They're in the podcast They're here in the house and they just keep to themselves. But for me, knowing that they are not here is so much more relaxing. I don't got to tell them to go to bed. I ain't got to wipe no nose. I don't got to hear no arguing. Get them out of here. Me and Melissa, every year, take a couple of vacations without them rusty kids. And we take one, and then we take, a couple of vacation family. We'll take about 3 or 4. I mean, not big. I'm talking like we'll take them to San Diego for the weekend. Mm-hmm. And then we'll also drop them off at their auntie's house and go to San Diego without them for the weekend, because we don't need them around all the time. And we want to do adult stuff like go sing karaoke, and the kids don't do karaoke. Right. So we go on a cruise. Kids go to grandma's house. Kids go to auntie's house. Go to godmom's house. And then we will take the kids on a cruise, because that cruise we know is for the family. Right? So as simple as little dates. Once a month I try and get rid of those snot-nosed kids. Take them to their god and spend the night. I want them out of here, because it's very important to me not to lose sight of why we started this thing in the first place. And we didn't start this relationship for these kids. Mm-hmm. We are parents. We love our children. We are raising them to the best of our ability. We want them to go far in life. But our goal in life is to prepare them to leave the house. We prepare them by having them leave the house as children. Don't get used to being here every single day. Eventually, you got to get your little musty butt out of here. And it's very hard for Melissa. It's very hard for Melissa, because she feels guilty. I don't want to put my kids off on nobody.
That's the main part. I don't like putting the kids off on people.
I love it. And I will keep other people's kids. I don't necessarily love it. I know this is a double standard.
It's such a double standard.
But I will trade you.
Yes.
I will trade you a night without my kids for you a night without your kids, and I'll deal with it, because I know how important it is. Like, perfect example. Me and my wife love sushi. Love sushi. Kids don't like sushi. Yeah. So when we get rid of them, we go eat sushi, just because when we have to go to dinner, since we have small children, we have to go to a place that we know has a kids menu. Mm-hmm. Right? And we know that sushi places don't have kids menus.
Yeah, they're not very kid friendly.
Yeah. Fancy steak houses, they don't have kids menus. And we want to get stuff that we don't care if they get apple stars and dinosaur nuggets or whatever. Get those kids out of here. So I implore you, get some time with you and your spouse, or you and your girlfriend, whoever you're shacking up with, and get some time away from your kids. Even if you just hire a babysitter and go out to an event, concert, movies. Yeah.
And I was going to say, it doesn't, back to Kevin's point that you can say, well, I don't really have the money. Sometimes it's not even really about going out. Sometimes it's really just what he said, in that I don't have the kids and we're just going to stay up and watch Netflix and talk to one another and not have the kids in the house. And we've done that once. He dropped the kids off. We wanted to go somewhere. I was like, I kind of don't want to go. And so we stayed in the house and watched Netflix.
Yes.
And that was cool too. I mean, and that cost no money. I mean, outside of the babysitter.
Right. And that's a good point, because a lot of people don't have money, so I know that's a thing, but you should have friends and trade them a night. When we were in Washington, we traded many a night for a night, because we knew our friends were in the same scenario with us. It was a little difficult for us when we first moved to LA, because we didn't have anybody here at all. And we're not just like leaving our kids with, any old body. And we're not even really feeling comfortable about, like, I don't even know where you would go to find a babysitter, like Babysitters Club books. I don't know.
I was going to look into it too, actually.
I don't trust that stuff. But we were almost there, because we wanted to spend some time away. So trade a friend for a friend, or save up, because it's imperative, right? Because why is it imperative? Because if you don't spend that time, you don't spend the money, you have less of time with each other, right? That's without the kids.
Going back to the investment.
So one of the other points I wanted to make about this, topic of balancing is you have time for what you make time for. Oh, yeah. And what I mean by that is, like Melissa said, it's so true. The best part of your day goes to your job, right? Let me tell you how our day works. We wake up at 5:30, 5 o'clock, 5:30. Melissa's gone by 6:15 or so, 6:30, depending on how hard it is to get up out of those. Them covers are heavy. They're strong in the morning.
It's a stronghold.
So warm. So we wake up between 5 and 5:30. Melissa's at work between 6:30 and 7 or whatever. And I leave to take the kids around 7:40, 7:30, and I don't get home till 7:30. I deal with an hour of traffic going to work 9-10 hours, and deal with another hour of traffic coming home. So, and obviously getting up at 5:30 in the morning makes you tired. So generally we're in the bed by
9 o'clock,
9:30. And you gotta, we work out as well. So of that 7:30, if I get home at 7:30, 30 minutes is gone of a workout. 15 minutes is gone to taking a shower, brushing your teeth. So if you got an hour, maybe an hour and a half, because we're asleep before 10. So what are you going to do with that time?
We do eat dinner as a family.
We do eat dinner as a family, and we have a no cell phones
at the dinner table.
At the dinner table rule.
That my kids.
The kids are they don't have cell phones yet.
So time out. You should make that a rule in your house. We do make a point to eat dinner as a family. I think Kev started that. He's much better at this stuff than I am. He started it, but I make sure that we do it. And we don't allow cell phones at the table. Sometimes Kevin and I break them, but the kids, we've taught them that no cell phones are at the dinner table. And so they remind us all of the time, Mommy, no cell phones at the dinner table. Daddy, no cell phones at the dinner table. So that is something you definitely should.
Not no kids. And you know what? It's interesting. My family, we didn't eat dinner at the dinner table.
We neither.
My mom made dinner, and it was in a pot or pan. It was set, and we came and went.
Yeah, we did.
I mean, we still have a good family relationship, but we did. Eating dinner as a family was not a thing in my house, like at all. So it's not even like I'm keeping with traditions or Melissa's keeping with traditions that our family has held. We had rice-a-roni. My mom's not a good cook. I hope she didn't listen to that part. She could fry. Oh, baby, no. Don't you say that. Oh, hush. My mom could fry some chicken, but that's about all the Lord allowed her to do well, and make lasagna, and she retired from that. But so we have no cell phones at the dinner table. And we also realize that a lot of times we just be having our phones and we're just like mindlessly scrolling through Instagram, through emails at work, through Facebook, through Twitter, through,
you're looping through that right there.
That's all. You're just
that's a loop.
Circling back and forth. Sometimes we're reading the news, but we're not doing stuff that's imperative to our relationship. And it's not even like cell phones are ruining a relationship, because the TV existed. So 15 years ago, you was watching TV or whatever, but you're just mindlessly there. So we have this unplugged rule that me and Melissa try to do a lot. And that's where we take, after we work out, take a shower, we try to spend at least 30 minutes while we're awake, not having sex, just talking with no electronic distraction, no phone, no television, no work email. Work email always comes. There's always something to look forward to on Twitter. And like both looking at Instagram and Facebook together is not spending quality time.
Agreed.
Like showing you my phone. Look at this girl's edges are beat up. That's not quality time. Although you're like sitting together, it's not really quality time. It takes the time, to actually look into each other's eyes.
And have a conversation.
The lost art of conversing with one another. And, so we only really have 2 hours of the day dedicated. So we try to make at least one of those count. And it's not easy because we got to work. We both got to work right now. It's just life. I ain't balling. She ain't balling. Neither of us is balling. Kids ain't balling. They don't even turn their homework in on time. But we make the most of our time. So you have time for what you make time for. We also do date nights, and that's part of the getting rid of the kids. And date night is not like spend the night. That's just like somebody comes to our house, watches the kids, and we go do something adultish. That's, I don't mean like go to the club. I just mean do something that we don't have to take our kids to or worry about them. And I feel like you should date your spouse at least once or twice a month without the kids. Sometimes it's more difficult than others. Like when the beginning of the year, we had to let the kids go to their godmom's house for a whole week because their school didn't start back like it should have.
I know.
So we felt guilty about like they were with them 5 days a week. So we didn't have date night that month. But this month we'll have 2 date nights just to make up for time. So those are kind of my points. Get rid of the kids sometimes. Date each other. The lost art of dating each other and unplugging. And a quick story time. Last year for Melissa's non-named birthday, we went to a resort. And when we got there, I made the rule that this was an airplane mode vacation. And we told the person that was watching the boys, we are putting our phones on vibrate. We'll check in at the end of the night. So we put our phones on airplane mode and in the drawer in our hotel room. And we just went 3 days without texting, tweeting, Instagramming. We took pictures sometimes, but we didn't post them right away. We didn't update people. And then during that time, I realized how much I go to check my phone. It's almost like second nature. You know what I mean? What do you do when you first wake up?
Check the weather.
Check your phone. Every morning, Melissa wakes up before me, or if I wake up for her, you see the light from her phone, or she sees the light from my phone. Sometimes you're checking the weather. Sometimes you're scrolling through Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, whatever. You just don't want to get out of bed. Yeah. And you realize how many times throughout the day on the toilet you do it,
You're the only person that does that.
I know that ain't the truth. I guarantee you 87.6% of people listening to this podcast
87.7%. Ain't nobody got the
use
time
their
for
phone
precise
at
percentage.
the toilet. You pooping and scrolling. I know it. I can't be. You don't?
No. When have you ever seen me take my phone into the bathroom? Oh, I wish there was a camera so you could see my face. I am waiting.
You do.
Kev, that is not the truth.
I'm gonna take a picture of you.
Okay, make sure you do it. Post it all on Instagram and potty.
I've seen you.
That is not the truth.
Are you calling me a liar?
I'm calling you an ain't truth teller.
I want to say I've seen you for sure.
You're not telling the truth. I do not take my phone on the toilet. Are you talking about scrolling or talking?
Scrolling.
No, I don't do that. Maybe I've taken it when I'm talking, but then I put the person on mute and then flush real quick and run out. But I don't do it and scroll.
Is that a rule?
No, because I don't be in the bathroom that long like you.
Let me tell you something.
You go in there and want to relax, grab a magazine.
I go to town.
Yeah, ain't nobody got... No, I'm trying
I
to
be in there relaxing.
I don't know why God made us have bowel movements anyways.
You're so against going poop. Melissa's really disgusting to her. Feels amazing. Anyway, I want to know, do y'all take the phone in the bathroom? I know people take it in there when they use the bathroom.
You want them to hashtag poop and scroll?
Yeah, this is the only thing about a podcast. There's not as much place to see stuff. So when this video comes to YouTube next week, comment and let us know if you're still listening at this point. Do you take their phone in the bathroom? So let's recap our points to how to maintain balance and romance.
Number one. Invest.
And thank you, Siri. Invest in now what you get later. Number 2.
Make it a priority.
Number 3.
Avoid falling into roles.
Side part. Be wary if you're in the church, making sure you organize your family in the correct way. Number 4. Get rid of them snot-nosed, musty behind kids.
Hire a babysitter.
Or trade or barter.
Trade or barter.
Number 5.
Date night.
Cuz.
And number 6. Unplug.
Unplug from technology, from life. The world will resume whether or not you have your phone. So that's that. Before we go, we have a hypothetical question. Remember, thank you guys for tuning in and listening. We love you. If you have a question, comment, concern, topic, hypothetical, otherwise, email us, Dear Kevin Liss, to KevOnStage@gmail.com. Today's hypothetical question, Melissa. If you were stranded on an island and allowed one luxury item, what would it be?
An Apple product.
Without anything to plug it into, obviously.
Aww. I didn't think about that.
You're stranded on the desert island with a generator to plug into. What Apple product?
Laptop. I need to be able to port it. Travel it.
Yeah. I mean, what would you...
You could do everything on there that you could do on the phone. It's just bigger.
I know. I mean, what would you do? Like, if you're stranded, what is a computer going to be good for?
Communicating. I'm trying to get off the island so I'm not stranded. Listen, I'm not Olivia Pope in this.
Oh my gosh. Scandal sucks so bad. Scandal is terrible this season. So I don't care. I love you, Shonda. I love you, writers. I love you, Kerry Washington. This season is trash.
So bad.
Trash. They've gotten so far away from what the show used to be. Olivia's kidnapped. The vice president is... It's ridiculous.
It's just so bizarre.
Trey bizarre.
What?
That's what people say.
Trade a bizarre?
Trey. I think it means like how bizarre in French.
Lord help. I don't speak English.
I would take... I would take my phone. I don't want to be lugging a laptop.
You need to be unplugged.
I don't want to be lugging a laptop.
No.
Or, okay, so here's a hypothetical B question. What luxury non-electrical item would you take?
Yeah, but what's luxury?
Without electricity?
Am I packing like a great pair of shoes? Like, I'm stranded.
I don't think they'd be of any use to you.
Precisely.
I don't know what's luxury that's not electric right now. I can't think of anything. I thought of a typewriter, so maybe I could write, but I don't feel like using a typewriter.
What? Typewriter is not luxury.
You're right.
Ancient.
It's just an item. Obviously, we need to not be stranded on an island because it's a wrap for us. So I want to thank you guys for tuning in to our podcast. Shout out your socials, Liz.
At Miss KevOnStage on Instagram and the Twitter, and Melissa Fredericks on the Facebook.
KevOnStage everywhere. DJ Kevy Kev is back now.
Wait, we should have played JoJo.
Oh yes, okay. We're gonna share. JoJo had a thinking out loud moment where he sang this song. I mean, his heart was just all the way in it. Let me search for it in my phone for 1 second. You guys just hold tight.
I got it right here.
Okay, play it, Liz. Sing, JoJo.
So
Sing, Joe.
He said heart.
At school.
And then immediately went into a monologue about what happened today at school. The best part about that is he went right from the verse, chorus, bridge to today at school. And Melissa turned it off. She's like, here he goes.
I sure did too.
Here he goes. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We love you guys. Enjoy Valentine's Day. Enjoy your life. We'll see you next week.